While Wolverine is known for his violence, it's hard to forget the dry sense of humor that's made him so popular over the years. Regardless of the situation, he always has a quip ready. After all, this is a guy who's been fighting for literal centuries. He's bound to have developed a sense of humor about his horrible actions over the years. Let us know what your favorites are, and remember to push that red button to subscribe for more.
Oh, I could probably think of a few reasons to stick around.
Catching Scott Summers with Emma Frost. One of the things that fans of the X-Men movies will no doubt know about is the love triangle between Cyclops, Wolverine, and Jean Grey. In the story arc Gifted, penned by Buffy the Vampire Slayer scribe Joss Whedon, after the death of Jean, it's not long before Scott Summers starts a relationship with Emma Frost, best known outside of the comics for her appearance in X-Men First Class. Not only has Scott jumped into bed with another woman so soon, but it was another telepath on top of that. Of course, Wolverine finds out, and needless to say, he's not impressed. He hops up onto the bed and asks Scott what part of the grieving process this is. Classic Logan-style sarcasm at its best. Quoting Dirty Harry, Logan has the beneficial position of being pretty hard to kill. If it weren't for the adamantium skeleton, the healing factor certainly has him covered. This means that he gets plenty of time to be a jackass to his enemies. This time around, he decided to perform his own full-length spin on the famous "Do I Feel Lucky" speech from Clint Eastwood's classic Dirty Harry. While a lot of the time the humor that comes from Wolverine is more him being deadly serious or sarcastic, this time it's just Wolverine having fun. After all, Dirty Harry is one of the best cop movies of all time, so why shouldn't Logan take the time to quote it every so often? Everyone's opinion on Wolverine. If you've ever wondered what damn near everyone in the Marvel Universe thinks of Wolverine, then this is what you need to see. Opinions on him range from anywhere between deeply complex and very simple, a big brother figure and cheated cards. It seems everyone has their opinion on Wolverine, including Namor the Submariner, who says you wouldn't want to meet a worse swimmer. When the time comes for Wolverine to actually hear everything they have to say about him, he responds, "They're wrong, every single one of them, except Namor."
You're right in there.
Yeah, I'm fine.
The hilariously fake claws. X-Men Origins Wolverine is known for being a pretty terrible movie, generally considered to be the worst in the franchise. What was funniest in this movie was how terrible Wolverine's claws looked, in spite of the fact that the older movies, with smaller budgets and more primitive special effects, made them look much better. The scene we all laughed at was when Wolverine sits there in front of his bathroom mirror, letting the claws in and out, and each time they appear in hilariously poor CGI quality, with an awful special effect accompanying them each time as though it had come out of a video game. The claws looked overly shiny and more like what you'd expect to see from the video game tie-in than a big budget movie, but hey, we got some laughs out of it.
Whoa. Easy, pal.
Quipping with Cyclops. We all know that Scott and Logan don't exactly get along. That doesn't stop them from having their moments of playful ribbing. After a long, hard battle, Wolverine and Cyclops support each other as they get up from their injuries. Wolverine says that they look like hell. Cyclops jabs that Wolverine always does, and Wolverine, sharp as ever, hits back with, "Says the man who wears sunglasses indoors." Maybe it's a low blow given Cyclops' problem of firing laser beams out of his eyes, but at least he can give as good as he gets. It's this dynamic that makes the fans love seeing them interact. While neither of them are the most likable guys, their verbal sparring makes them endlessly readable. Are you a beer? A large chunk of Wolverine's most humorous moments come from Joss Whedon's run on The Astonishing X-Men by the virtue of him writing the majority of his characters as quippy one-liner machines. This time it feels far more organic and true to the character. After losing Kitty Pryde, the X-Men are pretty depressed, and Wolverine, despite his hard exterior, doesn't take the loss well. He's not exactly the type of person to want to talk and hug it out with friends though. When asked by a friend if they can do anything to help, he answers plainly, "Are you a beer?" We're not saying that Wolverine is definitely an alcoholic, but we are saying that he definitely chooses to drink to deal with a lot of his problems.
Smells like government.
His general social issues. If there's one thing that Logan isn't great at, it's small talk. He's generally a pretty aloof guy who isn't interested in the gossip between the X-Men. So when Kitty Pryde asks Wolverine what he knows about Colossus, he replies in the typical blunt fashion that you'd expect. He's Russian and he's a metal man. After a brief awkward pause, he also denies her the luxury of playing music while he's driving. He may be grumpy, but at the very least, you know where you stand with him.
What do they call you? Wheels?
Wheelchair of Death. Wolverine's a careful sort of guy. While his method of being careful usually involves ultra-violence and shiny metal claws, he does try to make sure that everyone on his team is safe. Such as in The Astonishing X-Men when he punches Kaga, a 60-year-old wheelchair-bound man, in the face. While Storm and Beast scold him for it, he points out that regardless of how old Kaga may be, you can never trust a man who has a wheelchair of death. Perhaps the best part of the scene is how overly seriously he takes himself. He's so sure that they all need to beware the wheelchair of death. At the very least, we can't fault him for being unprepared, even if it did mean punching an aging, wheelchair-bound, radiation-poisoned man in the face.
Hey, it's me.
Prove it.
Proving he's real. The first X-Men movie set a really high bar for representing comic book characters on screen well. While there were creative liberties taken with the characters, for the most part everyone acted how you'd expect based on the comics. This scene was the perfect summary of the relationship between Scott and Logan. Scott asks for proof that Logan is not Mystique, and Logan answers in the bluntest possible way.
You're a
Okay.
Not even angry that he's just been insulted, and the two carry on. The two have a healthy respect for each other, in spite of the fact that they don't get on. It's also one of the earliest gags that Wolverine gets in the movie series, and it absolutely sets the bar.
What?
Where's my motorcycle?
Stealing the Batmobile. In the X-Men movies, Wolverine has a habit of stealing Cyclops' cars and motorcycles. Batman is known for his fancy cars and motorcycles. DC and Marvel are known to do crossovers from time to time. So, of course, in the comics, during a crossover with DC, Wolverine demonstrated his complete disregard for personal belongings and stole the Batmobile of all things, with Batman and Nightwing looking on in sheer disbelief. Batman might have all the gadgets and the money, but what's he gonna do when someone just steals them, eh? Wolverine and Gambit, easily the most scoundrel-like of the X-Men, take off in the Batmobile and the Marvel fans rejoice. Don't worry though, Batman fans, you got it back. Well, that's all we have time for today. What are your favorite Wolverine moments? Leave a comment and let us know. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and check out the rest of our channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to CBR for cool videos about movies, action heroes, gaming, comics, and more.